I mean, you know, we researched a lot and we learned a lot, but we didn't entirely understand how many different hats you have to play. You know, for me it was, all of a sudden now I have this company, Atlantic, and we have our management company, and they're, you know, it's like mommy and daddy, and we're trying to like make sure that they don't fight kind of thing, and it's like having to be an artist but also be a politician, as in you kind of are still playing a game. It's a business, you know, so you have these partners and they invested in you and you're investing in them for what you want to do. And for the first, you know, 2 years of us being signed, it was difficult for me because I'm a very driven person, but I'm not entirely competitive. Like, I don't want to get into a fight with anybody if I don't have to. So, you know, to argue and have it certain conference calls be like high school, like, you know, who threw whose pencil down whose shirt, you know, and Lizzie, please fix this for us, kind of thing. I don't know. It was a little bit difficult to run into that.
I think we've seen a lot of bands that get to that point where they have a chance to really make it, and then they feel the weight of the overwhelming workload that goes into getting signed. A lot of people think that if you get signed, you've made it.'re going to be in limos. It's going to be, you know, money and everything. But really, like, once you get signed and once you start getting on that level, that's where you have to really start working extra hard.
A big thing for us was when we were making the last record. We went through a roller coaster ride making that first record. We got signed. We went out for like, it had to be a year and a half, 2 years on a couple tours. We finally settled down to write for the record. We were sending in demos and everyone's like, okay, but like nothing's like either way, like this sucks, this doesn't. So we're like, okay, we'll just keep writing. We ended up with an arsenal of like 428 songs, and some of them were like all country songs, some of them were like epic metal 5-minute songs, and we were just kind of trying to get a rise out of somebody so that we would know what do we do for this first record? What do we want to say? What do we want to like? And so we ended up, you know, going to California to kind of meet with some producers. We were only supposed to be there for a month. Ended up to be 19 months from beginning of the writing process to the mastering process of our first record. During that process, Atlantic had let a lot of people go. You know, they were downsizing, like 400 people left, including the A&R guy that signed us. And at this point in time, he was one of those guys that like, he would fall on a sword for us, you know, and we're like, oh my gosh, you know, what's going to happen? We don't even have it. We've been signed to Atlantic for like 3.5 years. We don't have any record out. You know, we don't know when it's going to happen. We didn't know whether we were going to go home, and so it was like we went through a lot of ups and downs. It ended up the stars kind of aligned, and our A&R guy that is now with us now, he was kind of working as an outsider. He was like a freelance kind of A&R guy, and really understood what we were going for, and kind of helped us organize like all of these songs, and said, okay, when I go and see you live, this is what I see. So here's the collection of songs. What do you think? And so we ended up doing that.
To cut in right there, the only reason that we from what we heard anyway, that we didn't get the chopping, or, you know, on the wrong end of getting dropped, was that right when we first signed, we just recorded a live EP. It's called One and Done. It was just 5 songs. You know, we didn't do any extra recordings. We call it One and Done. It's just what happened that night, you know, in Philadelphia. And the label was like, okay, sure, you know, like, yeah, we'll do that. And when we went out on the road and did those tours right after we got signed, we were able to sell this little EP, and it had no radio support, or, you know, it wasn't being promoted. Atlantic didn't even put their name on the back of it. There's no barcode. There's like, sure, have fun, you know. And you know, in like 6 months, we sold almost 20,000 of them on the road, and that was just busting our butt, you know, before the show, after the show, in between sets, and just out there being available, and thanks to you know,
it helps to have a merch team too.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like takes your product to the people.
We do a little bit more than everybody else. Well, they do, I should say. They're called flashy red lights. If you walk away with anything from this conference, it's flashy red lights. that will sell
So
your
what
record.
we ended up doing was in between, you
Yes,
know,
thanks,
and
Liz.
at the time, you know, it was like my mother, and then we have this an amazing merch girl right now, Detroit, and and they're both loudmouths, and they will yell over any. You could
We say that in the most
you could be
loving
playing. We say this in yes, I love you.
Love you, you're loud.
But you know, you could be playing Meshuggah or Lamb of God over the speakers, and you can hear these women. So, but we would have, you know, the boxes of CDs. But they found these like flashy, like kind of like the Jägermeister flashing, you know, red lights that they hand out.
Who doesn't love those?
Yeah, who doesn't love those things? But they would put them on the boxes, and so like really, it's distracting. Like you have this like loudmouth woman walking down in the middle of a crowd, like what the hell is that? You know, and so they always know where your CD is. And then we go to work and we go on stage and make sure that in 30 minutes you show everything that you can do and bring out all the stops, and then, you know, hopefully people want to buy your record, and then it has to be available to them. So that was where they came in, and it's just, yeah.
So that was why, you know, they kept us, because Craig Callan, apparently, what we've heard is just like, all right, well, we know they have something live, you know, and that's important and I'm glad that they recognize that, you know, that's a lot of credit to Atlantic. They're a great label, and
it was also good, like your point that you were making earlier about just having an outside opinion come in to help really figure out what you want to do and what kind of sound you want to make. We've gotten lucky with that. We've had, you know, it's important like to find like the right producer or anybody, manager, somebody that can help make your band a thing and a product and something that can be sold. And
well, here's what we struggled with when we were making the first record, was that we knew us. You know, we knew what we liked, we knew who we were, we knew what we could do live. But that was kind of all we were reflecting, you know, and we weren't quite sure from an outsider standpoint. You're so close to it that like, okay, so what do you see? You know, and so to have somebody on the outside that was able to kind of look at us and then say, oh, well, this collection of songs tells me exactly, if I take this home, this is what I saw. You know, instead of us like just putting together a record that just had, you know, a mishmash of like everything from when I was 13 to, you know, and
somebody that can help rein you in, or in other cases can help get you more creative.
Yeah, so.
Let's